Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Today we're going to talk about allergies and freedom from allergies for good. All right. So I'm going to give you the price right off the bat. It's allergy season right now. Today is April 29th, and I notice there's pollen everywhere. People are sneezing their butts off. And I'm kind of laughing because I used to have allergies really, really bad. In fact, that story is going to blow your mind. It's going to probably teach you something that you didn't know about allergies. All right, so you've heard that, especially if you're like a Christian or anything like that, that you have to believe. Well, here's the interesting thing about the work that I do. You don't actually have to believe. The techniques work in and of themselves. In fact, I've worked with a lot of clients who go, oh, this is bullshit, I don't believe this. And then all of a sudden they're healed from the problem. They're like, okay, wait, what's going on here? I'm like, you've had this lifelong problem and you just went to the wrong practitioners who didn't know what they were doing. So the reason why you believe that these pills work is because you were convinced that they work, and thus, therefore, they do. I'm going to share with you some experiences, some real life experiences that I've had during my professional life, all the trainings I went through, the things that I had to do to get certified and qualified, and the things that I've done in life that have been like, whoa. See, one thing you're going to notice about me, I'm not into philosophy, beliefs, opinions, and theories. I'm about show me. I want to see it work. And for a long time, a lot of the techniques that I learned in NLP and hypnosis, I wouldn't use them until I saw them work, usually on me first or on someone else, and then I would start employing them. And obviously, sometimes I would test them out with my clients and like, wow, that really worked. And I used to think that they were bullshitting me. I was like, it didn't really work. Like, no, Mike, it really did. And so my clients would have to convince me. My point being is, if it's an opinion and a belief, I don't care about that. I want to know what works and I want to know why, and I want to be able to employ it. All right, so I've been walking around, and this actually happened yesterday. Went to the store just one city north, and as I was walking back to my car, it was a little bit of ways from Starbucks, not too far, and there's two ladies with their Starbucks coffee cups getting into their car. And this lady put her coffee cup on the top and she pulled out a tissue or something and just started sneezing and sneezing and sneezing. And I'm kind of looking at her like, it's freaking warm outside. I was like, oh, it's allergy season. So I've been seeing this recently. And I kind of giggled inside because I'm looking at her like, God, if she only knew you could get rid of that just like that. It's really simple. It's really easy. But a lot of people have been brainwashed to believe that you have to take pills for the rest of your life. You don't. There are easy ways to get to heal it. At least when you work with me, it's actually fairly easy, like extremely easy compared to anything else I've ever done. And I'll share my experiences, but next I'm going to talk about the prices. So my fee for doing therapy for 1 hour is $250. So, okay. So what I'm doing right now, because the economy has been tough for people, is I've lowered the price temporarily. In fact, I raised it back up, but for the this is for the allergies, okay? Because it's a very fun and easy process for me. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to lower the price to $125. Now, and this is per session, regardless of how long it lasts. Now, what I'm going to do is add something onto it. I'm going to do a sliding scale all the way down to $75 US, okay? So whatever you can comfortably afford to pay. Why? Because this is fun for me, it's easy for me to do, and I really, really enjoy doing this. Why do I enjoy it so much? Because of the massive relief that my clients experience from this. In fact, this is Mary Beth. Her nickname is Nini Beth, and I only had to do 3 sessions with her. So I did it 1 year for two sessions. And then the following year when the allergy season came up, a different kind of allergy came up. So we worked on that and boom, it's done. She's had no allergies since. Now I've had the same experience. So the typical clients that I'll get when it comes to allergies is people who are just absolutely in agonizing pain, suffering. I know because I had allergies really bad to where I couldn't take it, and I did everything in my power, and I finally found something that actually worked. So one thing you're going to find about me is I like clients who have gone to all the doctors, who have been in years of different kind of healing modalities, medicine, pills, therapies, hypnosis. I want people who've done it all and have gotten no results, okay? And don't believe, they think it's just a waste of time. Those are the people I want that are like, nothing works, I'm just suffering, and then boom, they work with me and they're like, what the hell did you do? Now, it's not because I'm looking for a challenge. It's because I want it to be so clear, so clean cut, that everybody in the room, including their doctors, are going, wow, this actually worked. So my favorite clients are clients who are dying of cancer. And it might sound kind of funny at first, but what do you mean? Again, I luckily I've only found clients or clients that have found me usually through someone who was a client of mine before. They were referred at the very last possible moment of death, where they'd been going to doctors for a year and a half, 2 years. They've done chemotherapy. They've done nutrition, vitamins, the newest, the newest supplement or whatever. And the doctor finally says, hey, there's nothing else we can do. We have done everything. We've been doing this for over a year and a half, etc. And they would write them off saying, hey, you've got about 3 or 4 months left to live. You might as well say, have a goodbye party, say goodbye to your friends and family, etc. That's the kind of people that I want to work with, because when they heal from that, the doctors cannot say, oh, this was luck, or oh, they were still on the chemo, or oh, it was what. No. I want to absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt, and I want my clients to be like, wow, I literally thought I was going to die, and now I'm alive and I'm cancer free. So here's a young lady who, she's fairly big girl, obviously not in this picture, but before she had cancer, and now afterwards. So I'm going to show you a very happy picture. She had lost a lot of weight, and she was posted these pictures and asking for friends, family to pray for her. And I had said, look, I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to do some energy healing on you. She was at the very end of her life. After this picture, she couldn't walk. Her parents were having to take her to the bathroom and the shower and other things, as you can imagine. So she couldn't walk anymore. Literally, it was a few days after this picture that she had posted. So she's normally a much bigger girl, about 160, 165 pounds. She's about 5'6", 5'7". And right here, I don't remember, I think she said she was 115 pounds or 120 pounds right here. So she had lost a lot of weight. And I had basically just intervened and said, I'm going to help you with this. I go, whether you believe it or not, I can help you. And watch what happens here. Here she is about 2.5 years later with her cute little baby, and look how chubby she is. She has gained weight back. She's beautiful. She began posting pictures, I believe it was 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks after. She goes, I think I'm gaining weight, and she got her glow back. So I had done about, I think it was 4, maybe 5 sessions on her total. And very intensive, very in-depth sessions. They were well over an hour that I did those sessions. So let's get back to talking about allergies. Isn't her baby cute? She's cute too. The reason I do my work is because ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to believe. I went to church all the time, and I prayed and I prayed. And you hear about Jesus and how he healed people and walked on water and all this amazing stuff. I wanted to know. I had to find out. So I went and I did acupuncture, acupressure, meditation for over a decade. I went to energy healing. Everything that I was doing was leading up to everything that I can do now. The reason why I like this picture so much is because it really expresses something that's really what my business core, if I could use this one phrase, it's about emotional freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from cancer, freedom from allergies, freedom from worry, freedom from anything, freedom from limitations and internal conflict. That's what my work is all about. So let's get to the stories and real life experiences that I've had that have allowed me to absolutely believe in the work that I do now. Not believe, but know. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is how you, just like a mechanic, this is how you remove a bolt, or this is how you remove a tire, replace a tire, etc. All right, so let's start off at the very top. I have some notes here. So one of the things you learn about are techniques in NLP called swish patterns to change beliefs, shifts beliefs, and all kinds of stuff. So swish pattern is one technique. Well, growing up in the 80s and 90s, they may still do this. It's for Formula 44D. So what do? Every fall, every winter, they come in and they say, so when fall begins, when it starts to get windy and a little bit chilly, they say, it's the cold and flu season. It's coming down the street, going into your home and into your head, basically. When you learn NLP and you learn what embedded commands are, anchors, swish patterns, because then they do this visual, it's called a visual swish. You can do an auditory swish and a kinesthetic swish. So when you go back and look at those commercials, like, oh my God, they're literally using NLP or hypnotic techniques to hypnotize you. Now, remember early on when I said the reason why that pill works is because you believe it works? But here's the thing with pills. They don't actually work because they don't heal you. They basically numb you. Because once you stop taking the pill, the allergies come right back, right? So that's the problem with that stuff. What I really was looking for is, how do you heal people? Like, one of the things during our NLP trainings is they explain psychology like this. It's basically like a band-aid. So let's say you got a big knife stabbed through your forearm. It hurts. You can't move your arm every time you try to reach out or twist your arm or squeeze your fist or try to grab something. It hurts really bad and you're still bleeding. So psychology comes along and says, well, let's put a bandage around that and don't move your arm that way. Okay, don't do that. Okay, so now you can't use your arm. Now you can't grab things or reach out or do anything with it. And it still hurts. So it's not really a solution, or maybe the word would be, it's kind of like a temporary, it's not even a temporary fix because the knife's still sticking out of your arm, right? So then you've got hypnosis. Now what hypnosis does is it rewires your brain, and so does NLP. It can rewire the knife from pain, and then say, well, let's disconnect from pain. Let's rewire it over here to neutral or numb, or maybe happiness or laughter or some kind of anchor, right? Well, then you have energy healing. Energy healing goes to the root cause of what's going on. So basically what we do is we go in, we grab the knife, we pull it out, we clean you up, put antibiotics and all that stuff, and I forget the name of that stuff that you wipe on there to clean everything out. And we stitch it up, we bandage it, and then it heals in a couple of days or weeks, and boom, you're completely done. So what is energy healing doing? It's working on the level of actual physical energy. We're talking about atoms and electrons and all that stuff. So this is why I had a coach in high school football who could get cut really bad and he'd have a scar there, but then within months the scar would completely heal and go away. His whole life he was like that. So this is an energy thing that's going on inside him. Well, with energy healing we can do very similar things. Okay, I'm gonna say something I don't think I've ever said. I might have said it in a video a while back, but cancer is one of the easiest things to heal for an energy healer. I mean, it's ridiculous because cancer is just energy. It's blocked energy is what it is, essentially. Okay? So you're just cleaning it out like dust or debris. So that's one of the things I like to work with cancer patients, is because it's the easiest thing to work with. So essentially what we're doing is we're working on the molecular level, atom level, we're energy with electrons and all that stuff. All it is kind of like static electricity, energy that's not functioning and flowing in the proper way, and we're sweeping all that out, and then we're bringing in light, love, and healing energy into it, and then it refreshes the energy, and then everything begins to heal. It's actually quite easy. So one of the things we have to do is we have to find the cause of what's causing the illness, the allergies, the cancer, or whatever. Now, allergies, actually, you don't have to. I shouldn't have brought that up. Once I clean that out, it's done. So one thing when it comes to cancers, we have to find the cause of it, or when it comes to emotional issues. So I'm going to give you two examples. I had a client who completely healed of cancer, and she went to her doctor. He had biopsied it. I think it was about 6 months or 8 months, or not months, weeks after we had finished the final session. And it came back and said, hey, all the cells went dormant, and they've already shrunk down to less than 1/3 the size of the original mass. And so she's like, oh, I'm healed. I'm like, yeah, but we still have to find the cause. Well, we actually found it, but she didn't want to deal with it. It was a childhood issue. I'm not going to go into it right now. And what ended up happening, I don't know if it was 6 months later or 9 months later, but it came back, and she eventually died. So this is why cancer can be healed and then come back. You have to find the cause, the original cause of what's creating it, okay? So cancer essentially, okay, here's a good example. Let's say you get scared or you have fear. Well, basically you'll clench down in your arm or your chest or your stomach or wherever, and it's blocking the energy flow, like literally from blood and fluid. See, cancer is basically, let's say your muscle is it's tight, it's stressed, and it's what I call locked down. You might think, it's normal because you got used to that over a period of time. It's kind of like when you haven't had a massage in 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden somebody massages and like, wow, my back's really loose, or man, my feet feel good. And it was just because you had all that locked up energy. That's all it was. Once you loosen up, now you're like, oh, well, this is what it's supposed to be like. So when you have tension and tightness, that's one of the things, because the energy is not flowing. But usually that comes from some kind of emotional issue. And yes, that's where cancer is coming from, is emotional issues, okay? Another one is, as you all know from my channel, we talk about narcissist abuse. Well, a family friend's mom had reoccurring cancer. It came back I think it was 5 or 6 or 8 times. It was ridiculous. Well, now she was around 59, 60 years old, something like that. And we all went down to see her, and she was swollen up. I don't know if that was from the medication or what caused that. She was in the hospital, etc., tubes in her. And what happened was, I'm very aware/alert of energy. And it was really clear that the husband was literally draining, sucking the life force out of her. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful or mean way at all. Because I very much love both of these people. But it was really clear that he was literally sucking the life force out of her. And that's when I realized, oh, this is an energy thing. And I had brought it up, say, hey, you should get your mom to an energy healer, but I could recommend some. Like, oh, we don't believe in that. I'm like, the doctor has given her a month, maybe 2 months. I go, what do you mean you don't believe in that stuff? They literally wouldn't even consider it, and sure enough, she died. So many times in relationships and spouses, there is some form of energy draining or some kind of a dark energy going on that's causing this. Now, whenever I work with someone, that's one of the first things I start looking for. The second thing I start looking for is a past childhood issue, something that's causing this stress, this anxiety, this fear, which is causing them to lock up and not allow the energy to flow through. So now let's get to some more interesting stuff. First of all, I never had allergies until something happened. And it was to the extent that I didn't believe in allergies, and I thought people were full of shit. And here's the thing, in a way, they are. Okay? Now I'm just going to piss everyone off with allergies. Okay. All right. So in my journey, so let's back up. So during the NLP hypnosis trainings, and we were also studying energy healing, at that time was HUNA, was allergies. What we discovered in hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, etc., is allergies are a mistake of the nervous system. In other words, the nervous system mistook, it was a mistake that it thought that allergies, or pollen, I should say, or cat dander or whatever, was a toxin. Now, when I mean toxin, I don't mean just like regular smoke, but I mean something that's actually, like maybe car smoke, or something that was even worse, that was toxic and poisonous to the human body. So what the allergic reaction is to sneeze, to get out the poison, to get out the toxins. So number one, it was a mistake, and it had an allergic reaction to something that wasn't toxic at all. Pollen is a very natural, even grass and all this other stuff. This is very normal, natural, and healthy. I used to work at a feed store, and they have all this wheat and barley and all this kind of dust. Well, you breathe it in. I believe you actually get some nutrients from that by breathing that stuff in so much and being around it. So it makes you very healthy. Now, another part of this mistake of the nervous system is it is used as kind of an alarm system and or a, how do I want to say this, like a warning, like a fear. So, okay, let me explain it a little bit. So allergies are also a reaction from a fear state that happened a long, long time ago, okay? Or it could have just happened a few weeks ago and boom. This is why some people have never had allergies, and I'm one of them. And then all of a sudden in their adult life, they got allergies. So most people say, oh, you're born with them. Oh, that is such bullshit. I'm living proof of that. Now, my brother-in-law had a reverse experience, and that's going to prove it also. So one thing you have to remember, because I've had people fight and defend to the death. No, I've got allergies. I was born with them, and I'll never get rid of them. Well, that's a belief, people. We're going to talk about a hypnosis experience that I did during training that really helped me understand what happens when your unconscious mind takes on a belief. It will do everything in its power to support it and believe it, even if that belief does not support you at all. So here I had this brother-in-law who had allergies his whole life, and he was taking over-the-counter pills. He would go to the doctor to take pills, and finally, I don't know, he was about 28 years old or 30, 31, something like that. He started going to his doctor to get shots. I think it was every week or every 2 weeks. I don't remember because I never actually went with him. But he'd have to go get allergy shots, which I thought was just extreme. I thought that was toxic. But he so wanted to get rid of it. Now watch this. He was doing carpet. Now there's a lot of allergens in carpet, okay? And he would sneeze and sneeze and sneeze. Carpet work, he would install carpets. And one day he said, I'm going to be a landscaper. And everyone looked at him and go, wait, what? You, the guy with the allergies to everything, you're going to suddenly like go mow lawns and work out in the landscape and out in the fields and stuff? He's like, yeah, because he was really serious about it. So I started to work with him, helping him get his business off the ground, okay? And we'd been working for a few months at this point, maybe, I don't remember how long, but one day he dropped me off, and I think he came in to get some water. We were around my front door, and he was leaving. And I forget, I think I was trying to help him understand, like, hey, you can get rid of allergies, why don't we use this techniques? And he didn't believe in any of this stuff, okay? He goes, you're going to get him someday. I go, dude, why would you wish that on someone? That's horrible, dude. And he goes, well, you're gonna. And he kept saying it to me over and over. And one day he just like snapped, and it caught me off guard. And the very next day I woke up sneezing and sneezing and sneezing. I was like, oh my God, it was horrible. So this went on for weeks and weeks, and I was allergic to every single thing you could imagine, like to new clothes, to detergents, to frickin' every flour, everything you could imagine. And it was unbelievable. I was itching and scratching, and my eyes were watering like you couldn't frickin' believe. So on a logical level, I understand that somehow he had shifted that energy to me, because here's what happened with him. Magically, deliciously, suddenly, yep, that's right, his allergies disappeared completely the very same week. Yeah. So this is why getting rid of it on an energetic level is so much easier. Now, at the time, I wasn't into energy healing as much as I am now. I was trained and certified, I think, in 2 different healing modalities at the time. But during the NLP and hypnosis training, they really emphasized these NLP techniques. I didn't have a practitioner to go to at the time. It was so rare. It was hard to find someone. In fact, nobody was in my area. I was the only one for probably about a 40-mile radius. Okay. So I went to an acupuncturist, and it was one city over, and it had like electrodes that were connected to these electric shocks. They'd stick them in on each side of your nose. Oh my God, that was so painful. And I went back, I think 3 times a week for 2 weeks. That didn't do shit. It didn't do jack. So then I ended up going to a really good acupuncturist, Dr. Chen in San Francisco. And he helped me really calm down on a lot of other issues. But the allergies would calm down, but they kept coming back. Now, I went to Dr. Chen for a while, but during this period of time, I started seeking out really experienced energy healers. And luckily, I had bounced around through 4, 5, or 6. And luckily, about 6 months later, or maybe longer, I found one that was really, really good. And it seemed to bring relief, but it didn't get rid of it. And so I kept going back to her. And it got a little better, a little better, a little bit. But this really took a long time. And I'm talking about 2 years. But eventually it got rid of everything completely. Now, as the years went by, I started getting people who were just suffering from allergies, just unbelievable. And I began to find that I could heal people a lot faster. I mean, ridiculously faster than other energy healers. Now, let's learn about this interesting experience I had in Hawaii during one of the 5-week NLP hypnosis trainings that I took. To get your certification to be a certified master hypnotherapist, you had to, what was the thing? One of the things that you had to qualify is you had to hypnotize someone to believe that they couldn't pick up a pencil or a pen. Okay, not only that they didn't believe it, but they physically, literally couldn't do it. Now, I know I told the story a long time ago, about 2, 3, 4 years ago on here. So I ended up getting a guy who was a professional power lifter. Yep, he was squatting 500 pounds, deadlifting 600 plus pounds, benching 350, etc. So he was the biggest dude in the room, and at the time I was really not 100% into hypnosis. I really didn't have enough experiences with it. Although I'd been going through these super long trainings, and this was probably the 2nd year with this company doing all these trainings, year round, constantly going to 5-week, 3-week, 2-week trainings. And so I was really good at it, but I still was like, wow, I don't know. And the funny thing is when he walked up, so you have to do it in front of the entire class. And I think we had, I'm going to guess it was about 250 people there. So everyone literally just burst out laughing because I think it's because I looked at the piece of paper and I looked at this dude and I was like, oh my God. And I kind of looked at the crowd and they just instantly burst out laughing. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, it's okay. So Dr. Tad James had looked at me because, the crowd laughed. I think he kind of got a little concerned. He's like, Mike, you can do this. You're one of our best students. In fact, he had told me that later on I was the best student he had ever had. So the thing is, you got to bring the script up. It's called hypnosis script. You were allowed to bring it up, and you could read off of it and just literally read off it and go through it. Because I think the exercise wasn't necessarily like a memory exercise. It was more it was about getting your brain to understand, yes, this stuff really does work. So the exercise it's not like a 5-minute exercise. I think it was about 45 minutes. It was I had to rerun them through the script. And you have to do it as much until you really feel like, okay, this is done. He's got it. I've got it. It's going to work. So I went through it thoroughly, over and over and over. And when it came time for him to pick up the pen, I'm thinking, this isn't going to work. And I remember, I can't remember if it was after or before. Oh, no, I do remember now. So he went to pick it up and he couldn't pick it up, and he kind of had this look on his face, and then he went to grab it to pick it up and he couldn't pick it up, and then he got this confused look on his face, and that's when I was like, okay, what is this? And he looked at me and I go, look, man, dude, it's okay, because you got another chance the next morning. You had to show up early for class and you had to do the same exercise over again with the same person. So I said, look, it's okay, man. I'll do it tomorrow. Because during that class, you got individual attention because very few people didn't pass. And so I go, dude, it's totally okay. Don't worry about it. You don't have to be fake. And he goes, I'm not faking. So this guy started grabbing the pen. He goes, and he tried to lift and he lifted. Now, we were in Hawaii, and it was probably about 82, 84 degrees, and it was humid. And he starts to sweat. And he's and his veins are pumping. And I go, dude, it's totally okay. You don't got to fake it. And he goes, I'm not faking it. And at this point, Tad looks at me, and he goes, Mike, you did a good job. And I kind of rolled my eyes like, come on, man. And at this point, I looked at the crowd, and the crowd was just locked onto this guy. The guy could not pick up the frickin' pen. It was for me personally, because I had a lot of, I don't know what the right word is, but I basically had a lot of doubts on hypnosis. For some reason I said, come on, this is real. But damn, it was real, and that was one of the first real beliefs. But even then, I still didn't believe it. It wasn't until I worked with a lot of clients and I got phenomenal results with these clients that I really started going, okay, I believe. Because for me, that's what it takes for me to believe in something. So I'm going to wrap it up with this. I just happen to be I want to say it one way, but that's not quite right, is a very naturally born, powerful energy healer. So let me give you a couple examples. So Uncle George Naopi was a part of this training that we're taking in Hawaii. Now, Uncle George Naopi literally at the time, now he's passed away since, was and or is the, when you say the phrase the big kahuna, he literally was the big kahuna of Hawaii, okay, of Huna. And so he was a small little man. I'll pull a picture up here. Just always had a beautiful smile, and when he walked in the room, you could feel this expansive energy. It was really cool. He walks right up to me one day, right in front of everyone, because this is when they introduced Uncle George Naopi. He went up front, and he saw me. He locked onto me, just left the stage and walked right up to me while he was being introduced, and everyone got really quiet, and he goes, you are a very, very powerful healer. He goes, you don't need to learn. You already know how to heal people. He goes, all you have to do is open up. And I remember looking at him, and on some level, I knew what he meant, because I've done this sporadically throughout my life. It would just be like this emotional opening, and I would help somebody, okay? But it wasn't, I'd never gone to energy healing trainings before this period of my life. I didn't quite understand why it happened and why it didn't. I always thought it was just pure luck or coincidence. So he really reaffirmed that, and I kind of smiled and nodded. But part of me was like, yeah, he's just trying to boost my self-esteem. Like, you can do it. Like a baseball coach, you can do it, son. But no, because the whole thing was like, why would he walk up to me in front of the whole class of 250 people with doctors and all these, kind of medical people, etc. And also, the Berkeley Psychic Institute said the same thing. They did a reading on me, and they said, man, you are a really, really powerful healer. You are one of the first, I forget what to call it. I'm losing the word. But basically, one of the first spirits that came to this planet many, many, many thousands of years ago. And you came here already a healer. So that's why when I say I was a born, healer, like this was born into me, it really wasn't. It's something that I came to this planetary system with a long time ago, and I'm going to assume I had worked on it many, many, hundreds if not thousands of years and developed it. And so when I was reborn in this lifetime, it was already a natural gift of a part of who I am. So as the years passed, I got better and better and better, to the point to where there was a point when I healed someone from cancer where it scared me, because I was raised in this Western-minded church, and it was like only Jesus can do that and nobody else can. The funny thing is, the Bible makes it really clear that Jesus was teaching his apostles, his followers, to be healers. And of course, you do have other churches that believe in hands-on healing and, all that stuff, the miracles of God, and it can work through you, etc. I think my biggest influence was Buddha Kam. He's from Laos, but there was a temple in Richmond. Again, my ex-girlfriend was Laotian, and when I went through my awakening, I had begged her to take me there, and eventually she did. She didn't want to go because it's kind of like, when we go to Sunday school, we're like, oh, I don't want to go, and She thought it was like you were being judged, and so it's funny because she felt that way about Buddhism, which I thought was odd. So we ended up going, and the first thing he said, literally, when we walked into the temple, he suddenly kind of barked something out at everyone. Everyone got this confused look, and I don't speak Laos at all. And I'm like, what's going on? All of a sudden, everyone knelt and bowed down to me, and I'm like, and I went to bow down. I thought, oh, I'm supposed to probably bow down to the monk. He goes, no, no, no. And he raised his hand up. My girlfriend goes, he wants you to stand high. I'm like, what? Why? So he did some chant for about 15, 20 minutes, and then he waved everyone off, said, go ahead, go back to what you're doing. And everyone kind of had this confused look, and they were looking at me kind of like, well, what? Who's this guy? So he had told my girlfriend, who translated, and he was looking at me saying all this, but essentially what he was saying was, you're the highest monk here. I'm like, I'm not a monk. He goes, yes, you are. And he laughs. And my girlfriend says, yeah, he says you're a monk. You're the highest monk here. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He goes, yes, you are. He goes, and you are, don't you? Deep down inside, you know that you're a monk, and you know that you're a healer. That was a very similar experience to Uncle George Naopi, the Big Kahuna, because when he said, all you have to do is open up and you can heal anybody, I could feel it, and it's like on one level, I knew what he was saying, but on a logical, Western-minded level, it was like, no, I'm just a person. And they both laughed when I essentially said that to them, and they said, no, you're the highest monk here. And so I asked, well, why did he make people bow? And he said, because you're the highest monk here, and everybody, even Buddha Khan, bowed to me. So my journey in this lifetime was to remember this and for it to reemerge again. And the biggest thing was, I remember when I was a little child, and I walked into, after church, going into the little kids' room for Bible study or whatever, and there was an image of Jesus there. And it was that moment, it's like I wanted to know, is this real? And so that was my lifelong journey, was to seeking out healing and loving and all of that. So what I want to say is, can you heal? You can absolutely heal. We are on the verge right now of many people waking up to the fourth, fifth dimension, to the spiritual levels, and people are starting to realize, wow, this stuff is real. Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. God bless you guys. Allow yourself to be healed, and it will happen.